seen the second one? I haven't seen it.
No, I heard it wasn't that good.
Yeah, well,
Honestly, the first one does well enough to survive on its own. I mean, I think like I get that they were trying to see if they could revive the magic on it, but that first one was just so good.
Yeah.
I finally got around to watching the second Beetlejuice movie recently.
Oh,
I
I
haven't
heard
seen
that
it.
one wasn't that good either.
I haven't seen it.
So the only comparison I can really give is that it's like listening to an album from a band that's already well past its prime, but it's still listenable. It still has a little bit of the magic, like maybe one of the more recent Metallica albums, where you're like, man, I remember.
Yeah, it's got flavor, but it's like, I've had this flavor before, and it's been commercialized to the point where like the difference between probably eating McDonald's in the 1960s and eating the McDonald's now. Yeah. You've had that flavor so much, and it's been so manicured that it doesn't. The first time you taste it, you're like, oh my god. And then you're like, yes, it does taste like rancid cow meat, or oh man, I can taste the 12 pounds of soy. In no way, shape, or form am I assuming that has anything to do with McDonald's. Man, we got to really bleep out some of these sponsors we're putting in here today. Little subtitles. In no way, shape, or form are we disparaging. This is all for comedic value. It sucks for you, but we retain our First Amendment rights to make fun of you.
We're allowed to name drop companies, I think.
And we're allowed to make fun of them in a comedic way. Yes. Yeah. Mockery. Yeah. As long as we're not actually insinuating that really occurs. Which reminds me of, I think it's India. There's this island where they have like a metric butt ton of rats. And you see the guys like bringing out food, and just like all the rats coming up and climbing onto the thing. It's kind of like Japan has an island just filled with cats that you can't hurt the cats, and there are just cats everywhere. So
I think that hell on earth for me would be like if I was dropped on that island that has nothing but snakes on it.
How about if you were dropped on that island, but you were jumping out of a plane that was filled with snakes? So you were literally on snakes in a plane. You're like, I'm free. And then you land, and then you realize you're on an island filled with snakes.
Yeah.
I think that would be, that moment of, you all of a sudden elation that you feel you're free. And then you land and look around and you realize all there sea is snakes.
Yeah. Cause I'm seriously ophidiophobic.
Was that what fear of snakes is called?
Yes. You can fact check me. I'm Benjamin Harrison if you wish.
Benjamin Harrison, thank you.
I suppose it's not like serpentophobia or anything like that.
No, it is not.
So in one of the games online that I played, for one of the maps that we did, each of the things we tamed to tell whose was within the tribe that was theirs that they controlled. I did all of mine as different phobias. So like you knew which animal was mine because it had like anatophobia, fear of ducks, or like it was all over the place. But some of this got really long, so it's like, man, where did I leave this thing? Did I leave it over on this section of the map, and I'm having to like look it up to try and figure out where it is, and you'd have to type in the name exactly. Yeah, I did that for a whole map. I did band names, heavy metal band names, for another one.
Speaking of heavy metal, I watched Heavy Metal, the movie, recently.
The original or the Heavy Metal 2000?
The original. And I also saw 2000. I thought it was different, but I still like the first one.
I've never really sat through it. It's mostly because it had the term heavy metal, and then the music in the first one was like
Sammy Hagar and Blue Oyster Cult and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like
I had different expectations going in.
you have to kind of, I guess, like watch it from now, watching it kind of like from the perspective of this is the 1980s animation. This is like the top tier. This is how they were really trying to. I think it was probably like the forerunner to probably like shows like Liquid Television.
Mm-hmm.
I think Liquid Television was an attempt at
animation.
Yeah, I think they were definitely imitating to an extent, especially what was the one with the woman?
Aeon
Which I
Flux.
never got. Huh?
Aeon Flux.
Yeah, that one. That really had like that kind of style to it. I mean, it was different, but and the funny thing is, so while you're watching that, I realized I had never actually seen Akira or Akira, depending on how you pronounce it, and Ghost.
I've heard Akira. I could be wrong.
Well, based on the English translator that did the voiceover for it, it's Akira. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe they messed that up. Who knows? I mean, I don't know when they did the translation on it but I ended up watching that, and I ended up watching Ghost in the Shell.
Finally. You know they're going to bring back Vampire Hunter D.
They don't need to remake that one.
Well, they're going to do it. You know they're going to do it.
That was fun by itself. The one I need to see is I was talking with my wife's cousin, and the one that I need to go out and actually watch is the live version of Battle Angel Alita. That anime was so like actually all three of those. If you and the fourth one I throw in there is just kind of depressing. Is even though it seems like such a bright future, is not Bubblegum Crisis. Appleseed, Battle Angel Alita, Akira, and Ghost in the Shell. All four of those are like depressing dystopias. The video we did on dystopias, I know I talked about Appleseed in that one, but Battle Angel Alita, I didn't even think of at that point in time. But that one, I mean, you think about it, all the rich people live up in the floating island, and they're just throwing down scraps for everybody else to live on.
I got into Japanese animation through a buddy of mine that grew up with. Shout out to him. We'll refer to him as CDS. He showed me the movie Ninja Scrolls, and that is the one that I was like, "Whoa! Now this is different." Like it really felt like a game changer. Because up until before then, like I knew of Akira, Vampire Hunter D, but Ninja Scroll was kind of like, whoa, this is like really, really badass. So yeah, that was like my introduction really to like Japanese animation. I'm kind of weird on it. It has to be one that's like really good to really like have any staying power. And it just is never like really hit with me consistently as a genre. So I don't know. I guess it's just something like either you like it, you love it, you don't, so.
I think it's like any other medium. I mean, you can't say like you go out and watch a sci-fi movie and you're like, hey, I like all sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty out there that I think are, in my opinion, are trash. There are ones that out there that I think are not fun, not good, ones that are dry or blah or whatever else. And I think anime and even manga, as a medium, I think there's something out there that anybody can find. It's just whether or not you can deal with the visual elements and how they're presented. I think if you're looking for futuristic sci-fi stuff, I think a lot of the anime and manga are playing off of ideas that have already been presented in prior venues,
You know,
books or whatever.
you know what franchise I think would benefit from Japanese anime manga? The Ninja Turtles.
I thought they did a version of that. I thought they gave it over to some manga writers, and they did a manga style with it.
I know they did that with Street Fighter.
Because when they did that animated show, like when we were kids, I'll be honest with you, after like the first 2 episodes, and then they just started throwing pizza on people, I was out. I was like, this is dumb. I don't want to watch this.
You know, that was kind of about the time that we were starting to outgrow all that stuff anyhow.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it was just like,
You got to think about some of the trash that we watched that we really enjoyed too.
I know.
What was it, like Street Sharks or something that was also out at the time? It's like, what? No.
How many itinerations of the Scooby-Doo formula was out there, like Jabberjaw, for instance?
Hey, you shut up, man. Don't come after Jabberjaw. Josie and the Pussycats.
Exactly. There was like several of them, yeah.
Yeah. Speed Buggy.
We'll look at
like, hold on. Let's talk about Speed Buggy for 1 second. Was there ever another talking vehicle in anywhere in the show? Like, no. I can't remember. I think Speed Buggy was the only talking vehicle. Did anybody have an issue with that?
He had a stutter.
Well, that was because that was his motor puttering.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So, you know, we always talk about how, like, when you look at Scooby-Doo and stuff, and it's like, you swear to God that like, those are hash cookies that they're eating, which is why they can hear Scooby talk. And, you know, I want to really go back and see if anybody else actually talks Scooby without eating a Scooby snack. But those kids who are rolling around with a talking car, oh, they are stoned as all get out. Like, they have carbon monoxide damage to their brain easily. And I mean, Jabberjaw, at least you can kind of go, okay, well, there's like this
underwater out of water, yeah.
But there's this underwater kind of component to it, so it's already kind of weird on that. So you've gone a little sci-fi. Maybe he's like a, you know, a genetically modified shark or something. So maybe I'm the one smoking weed at that point in time that I think it's reasonable. But you know, you get into Speed Buggy and Scooby-Doo, and it's like, what the hell are they doing? Speaking of Scooby-Doo, did you guys see the SNL skit for Scooby-Doo?
No.
Yeah, within like the last year or two, I think.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you sent it to us.
Maybe I did. It was Ryan Gosling, I think, was the guest. And,
yeah. You sent it to us.
That one, oh my God, I laugh every single time I watch that one. Like, just he's like, no, I don't think it's so and so is the villain. I think this is another mask, and he literally rips the guy's face off, which then makes everything snowball from there. If you haven't seen it, it's funnier than hell in a completely inappropriate way. So,
a lot of dark humor.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Going on cartoons though, like, if you think about it, so name in any one of these 3 shows when, and I'm not talking movies that may have been made afterwards, but the actual main shows where somebody died permanently, not of old age. Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers.
Okay, I'm sorry. If we include the American version, Sven on Voltron, he never came back.
Sven in the American version, he did. In the Japanese version, he did not.
Oh,
he did.
Okay,
he died in the Japanese version.
Okay.
In the American, his cousin or his brother, who happened to look exactly like him in the Japanese version, was at an outpost, and then when they did the translation, it was, oh, hey, it's Sven. He looks just like Sven. But in the Voltron, yes. In Thundercats, you have the old guy who's piloting the ship dies of old age. That's
Shocker.
why I had to, yeah. G.I. Joe, you had Duke go into a coma twice, but he didn't die. Transformers in
Yeah,
two
then it turned out he wasn't the leader anyway.
Who, Duke?
Yeah.
No. It was Hawk, but
Yeah.
and technically actually Flag, but I think it was Flag, but there were two different episodes where Duke ended up getting put into a coma, and it was like, oh my god, Duke got so injured, and then he like wakes up the next episode. But I think there were two-parters or something. But that's as close as you get on G.I. Joe, and they're literally shooting bullets at each other. Sorry, laser beams. But
or you're like moving like really fast through all these, so you need to slow down here.
I'm wondering where he's going with it. So you're talking about cartoons that had a permanent death.
My point with this is American cartoons. You actually made the point for me without intending to, pointing out Voltron and the fact of Sven dying and not dying.
Yeah.
That American cartoons, when we were growing up, were afraid to challenge us as children.
I agree.
And I mean, I don't know if Voltron was intended as an adult cartoon in Japan. I don't believe so, because I think they had Gundam running around at the same time. They had Mighty Morphin Power Rangers running around at the same time.
I think also they, not just the animated shows, but also like the live action shows. Some of them were very formulaic in how they would structure the plot.
Like, what are you thinking?
Like A-Team. They would always like start, and it always like last 15, 20 minutes, they build the thing that saves the day.
The super weapon, yeah.
Right? That's what happened.
Wait, you're saying they MacGyver the end of it to the point where there's actually a term for doing something like that based on one of the shows? No, ever.
That's going back to kind of classic television where everything has to be compartmentalized to one episode, where something's going to be resolved at the end and the good guys win. I mean, look at how Knight Rider was done. It was done that way. A-Team was done that way. You can go back to like Bonanza and all sorts of shows. Kung Fu, The Incredible Hulk. All of those have a story arc that's going to fit within the narrative of one show. You might get a two-part every once in a while.
Can we stop and realize how racist Kung Fu the show was? I mean, just for 1 second, you take about the whitest white man you possibly could, and I believe he was supposed to be like a Japanese man or something. Like, wasn't he supposed to be Asian, or was he just some white dude trained over in Asia?
I thought he was like a Shaolin monk. I haven't seen it.
I haven't even thought about it. But all I remember is wasn't Bruce Lee supposed to be like Kung Fu or something?
So I think he was offered the role.
Okay. How many non-white dudes could they have offered that role to, and how much cooler would that show have been?
Well,
you wouldn't have stopped and gone, that's a really white dude running around acting
wasn't
like
the only white dude that they accepted for like a long time was like Chuck Norris, and it took them forever to like start bringing in other white dudes into like, I don't know. It just seemed that way because like Chuck Norris was the first white dude that you saw like doing like kung fu and shit.
That's
but you always hear that Bruce Lee could whoop his ass.
No. There was I mean, I'm just thinking of Bruce Lee movies I've seen. Enter the Dragon. There's the other guy that goes with him to Dr. Klon's island. Sorry, Dr. Klon. whatever the bet. Great, I can't get out of Kentucky.
Maybe I just
take him to Detroit. Oh wait, D's already there.
It's possible that I got misinformed and deceived by all that propaganda with the Delta Force and missing in action films that were stuck in there as well.
But those were action films, and like, but you are right because Chuck Norris was, what was the movie he was in with Bruce Lee? Didn't they do a movie together?
Was that not Enter the Dragon? I know he fights Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Or was that Fist and the Fury or something like that? Fist and Fury.
Something. I haven't watched a Bruce Lee movie in a long time.
God, it's been a minute, man.
I was showing my daughter like how badass he was, and it was this whole thing where it was how fast he was at doing different things.
Yeah,
and it was so quick. Like even to this day, even with like our modern video, where it's not like the fuzzy TV, it's like
it's almost like a camera trick.
I'm like, I couldn't see where he did that. Like, I don't know how he did that. Like, well, physically, I know how he did it, but I don't know how he did that. Like, that he was just phenomenal in relation to it. Insane, but
you were talking about the G.I. Joe animated series. So I think the G.I. Joe franchise, what it had going for it was that they had a lot of cool character names. If you think about it, Storm Shadow, Leatherneck.
Which the hilarious part is, and that's a name that you I think it's a little bit derogatory term that you're referring to Marines.
No, but the way they marketed it, you know what I mean? And like they had these like
why would you want somebody on your boat who's called Shipwreck?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one. But like you had like Zartan, and you always looked kind of like mysterious, you know, and then they had the Dreadnoks, and they looked like visually different from the others, and they had a lot of good stuff going for it. I think though it really got kind of like
hokey.
The kind of like the beginnings of what would eventually become the satirized parody known as Team America World Police.
I
like the Yo Joe in America, you know, type of thing.
So I think everybody in that time frame fell into like really three major groups: He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers,
yeah,
maybe like Thundercats. I don't know. Like there may have been some other. For me, I went heavy in the G.I. Joe. The price range was right, and like the toys were great for how I played. So that was my
Who were some of your favorites?
As far as like figures
or just characters, whatever, you know.
I will say, even though it was completely insane looking, one of my favorites was the Hiss tank. I love that thing. But the other one I liked was the Dreadnoks. I forget what their car was.
Oh, the Thunder Machine.
Yeah,
I was talking about that yesterday. Remember when I shot that text?
Yeah, with the Gatling gun, the double Gatling gun on the front of it. Yeah,
I thought they were probably my favorite group of characters, because it was like they were like comic relief. They were kind of like, the only one that was really kind of like smart was like Zartan. The rest of them were kind of like, you know.
If you're talking cartoon, yeah. See, I also read the comics quite a bit, and the personalities were way different. Probably one of the ones I liked was Firefly. He was the
he had the flamethrower, right?
No. He was. You're thinking of Barbecue. Firefly was one of the
Not Barbecue in Haiti, by the way. That's a different guy.
Okay.
I like the android troopers, the bats.
Those came on later.
Yeah.
But like as far as like G.I. Joe's, my favorite character actually was Tunnel Rat. Which my brother pointed out, or it might have been my dad who actually had done 2 tours in Vietnam. I think he pointed out when I bought the figure, he's like, this is the most idiotic weapon for this individual who's known as Tunnel Rat to ever have. he had like an M50 or something. It's like, yeah, you're not going to be going into a tunnel with that. Like he like his whole point is like, number one, this guy's too tall because he's the same height as everybody else. He should be short, and because you're not throwing that dude down in a tunnel. You don't send a 6 foot tall guy into a tunnel. You send the 4'11" dude or the 5'2" guy down in the tunnel. And then he's like, and you don't take a big gun. Like, where are you going to wield that down there? I mean,
W pump.
Oh my god, he went off for like the longest time.
W pump. You got to go down the tunnel. I'll have to go down the tunnel.
Well, what's funny is my dad told the story.
Sorry, dude.
when he went to Vietnam, they gave him his M16 because he was an officer, and then they gave him a pistol. And he's like, "What the hell am I going to do with a pistol? If I'm in a situation where I am down to a pistol, I'm screwed." So he ended up trading. Apparently, I can't remember if he said it was legally or not, but he ended up trading for a shotgun. So while other officers were running around with a pistol, he's rolling around with a shotgun on his hip instead, like just slung over his shoulder. That since he was an officer, he wasn't given like all the same weaponry, so he was like, "It's stupid. Like, who am I going to stop with a pistol? Shotgun will deter anyone from messing with me." So, but that was his solution. But you would think a shotgun would be more effective going down in a tunnel than a, M60 or was it M60 or M50? I forget which one he had.
You said M50 earlier.
I did, and now I'm debating. Let's see, Tunnel Rat, G.I. Joe.
Since we're talking about your favorite G.I. Joe character, I'll tell you which one was my least favorite, because there's no way I could buy it as being a soldier, and that was William the Refrigerator Perry. I mean, people had to like send in how many proofs of purchase to get a football player?
Yeah. It was a M60, by the way.
What cheesed me out was his weapon.
I don't remember him having a weapon.
No.
He had a football or something?
He had a weapon. It had something where he had a handle and it had a chain, and he like spun this football around and he'd hit people with it.
Dude, yeah, it's a stick with a chain and it's a mace with a football at the end.
Yes, it looks so dumb.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
It looks so.
And there's like a comic book picture of him, and he's got the missing tooth right in the middle.
Oh my
Like,
goodness!
They even kept that on there. I wonder if that's on the action figure. Yes, it's on the action figure too. They had him with a missing tooth.
Oh my goodness! Make sure you get the missing tooth on there. Can you imagine being that guy? That's your job. Make sure.
What was the wrestler? It was
Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Gosh.
Yeah, I never liked Sergeant Slaughter because of G.I. Joe.
God, that was some of the worst
his
episodes.
character on the screen. I don't like this guy.
Here was the thing. I remember when I was watching G.I. Joe and they announced that they were doing this new series, and they said, "Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter is going to be heavily featured." And I was like, "Boo!" And then they said, "Here's going to be the new villain," and it showed Serpentor, and I said, "That's my guy right there." Yeah. That was always like my favorite character, because I'm like, wow, what an egomaniac, and he does not care, dude. Like, he really thinks like he's, the universe's greatest gift, and he will, he deserves to be like, that total Alexander the Great, type
do you know what the story was in the comics of how he was created?
I bet it was a lot better than the show, because
I think it was close, but
really digging
in the comic, Dr. Mindbender ends up taking like the 20 greatest conquerors and mixing them together.
Yeah.
But the hilarious part of how he dies, like, I don't know if he ends up getting killed in the comics. He's doing this long prattle, and I think Storm Shadow ends up like, so it's like this contrasting scenes, if I remember correctly, going back and forth between Serpentor and his speech is going over, and then you have Storm Shadow or Snake Eyes moving silently across the battlefield as the Cobra is fighting GI Joes, and he makes a reference. So, do you know how I think it was King Harold of the Anglo-Saxons ended up dying against William the Conqueror? Do you guys know anything about that?
It's been a minute. I have to refresh my memory, but go ahead.
We probably have some people in the audience who don't know. So William the Conqueror went and conquered. Like, the reason the English are kind of Frenchy now is because of William the Conqueror brought over the French influence into England. But there were people there, the Angles and Saxons. Well, Harold, who was king briefly, ended up going up and fighting some Vikings and then ran back south. Amazing, if you want to read about it, amazing march. Dude moved a whole army all the way across the country unbelievably quick. But he ends up getting in this battle. They're ending up whipping the Normans under William the Conqueror. They're doing a really good job of beating them. And Harold's leading from the front, and as he was either saying something or doing something, an arrow flies out of somewhere and just right through his eye. Well, they recreated that scene with Serpentor making a comment about, and Harold was laid low by an arrow, and right then the arrow takes him out and kills Serpentor, and that's how Serpentor dies.
I think that's a fitting in, because like Serpentor always kind of struck me as kind of like, those authoritarian leaders that they have to go on and talk about themselves for a while and talk about all the great things that they do and how it's all about me. And I thought, like, well, that's probably, how he should probably go out.
Well, he was 10 or 20 personalities who were me. So yeah. There, in my recollection, there were two really great story arcs in the comics. One was the invasion of Springfield, when the GI Joes figure out that the Cobra has this whole town that they're controlling in Springfield, I think Illinois, or no, it's Springfield, Ohio, New York. I forget. It's somewhere in the Midwest. But they realize it, and then so they invade the town. But then the Cobra leaves there, or is fleeing out of there, and leaves little evidence. So it looks like GI Joe invaded a town in America. So it looks kind of bad on them. Then Cobra fled to Cobra Island, this island that they had developed earlier in the series. And so they built up this whole thing. Then the second part is when the GI Joes invade Cobra Island. And so it's this huge battle going on across the island there's like cool parts where it's like, we've got to secure the airport. So they send in troops to secure the airport, stuff like you'd actually see in Grenada or something.
Yeah, so, I remember characters also like Major Blood.
Yeah. who was less hokey. Major Blood was almost like Starscream in Transformers. The whiny sidekick. Cobra Commander, we can't do this. It's like, okay, thanks Starscream and another shell, But in the comics he was very different.
Man, I like though I don't know. I kind of like the Starscream character though in Transformers, because I understood some of his motivations.
He was an opportunist, always trying to advantage. Yeah,
and plus, he gave birth here in air quotes to Bruticus.
Yep,
and that whole crew. So that was like, I remember that was like I think the Combaticons with the Dinobots, in particular the Dinobot Snarl, the Stegosaurus, were my favorite characters. Like, I remember I went out and I had to have Snarl. I did get Snarl, but was not able to get Bruticus. He always evaded me. So...
Were the comics for the original comics for Transformers, were those better than the cartoon?
The later ones before it ended, had some tremendous artwork. They were actually done by Marvel towards the end.
Who did it?
No, they were done by Marvel at the beginning.
They were okay, so it was Marvel the whole time.
Yeah, Hasbro had a deal with there were 3 angles Hasbro was doing. One was the toys, and then they turned around as a way of marketing. They contracted out to do comics and cartoons to boost the sales of the toys. So it definitely was with Marvel. I remember that, but I just don't know.
I thought it might have been Dark Horse.
No, this was before Dark Horse was a big enough player.
I think it kind of wrapped up around 89 or so for the comics. I think. Don't
like
worry.
a lot of the Alien movies and Predator movies, like their comics usually go through Dark Horse.
Yeah,
is why I'm saying that.
Yeah, but this was Hasbro did a really huge push on the comics because even with that, like if you remember Visionaries, I want to say Visionaries was either DC or Marvel, and that was, I forget who was putting that out. Like a lot of the major toy companies at that time were putting out their comic versions with DC or Marvel. And some of them did it even under, I think it was like the Epic imprint. That
Star Wars started out at Dark Horse and then they went to Marvel.
I think they started off with Marvel.
No, I think the 70s version was with Marvel.
Dark Empire, I believe, was at Dark Horse.
You got to go earlier than that.
Yeah,
the original
comics all the way back before Empire Strikes Back came out.
Yeah.
Part of that marketing machine.
Might have been
they did it as like limited series reprints of like, oh look, here's Star Wars in comic book form, and it would be like a 6-issue miniseries or something. But yeah, no, I have seen covers of at least stuff from like early 80s, late 70s from Marvel.
Yeah, I think after though, like after the Transformers movie kind of came out, I knew of like shows like Thundercats, and I watched like one of my favorites was Pirates of Darkwater, and Mask. I liked Mask, but after those, I kind of like stopped watching. You know, and all the stuff that happened after that, I'm kind of like, what? Oh, that happened? And
I remember there was like a period where, remember how we were talking about all the Scooby-Doo knockoffs earlier? Yeah. There was a period where you had all of your Thundercat knockoffs. You had Silverhawks. You had, what was it, Tiger Sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a bunch of them that came out.
What's an animated show that you guys like remember like wishing could have been better and did not like the execution of, but you think could have been better? Say like if you would have had like a better idea.
Yeah. I'll tell one, and it's one that I wish I could find episodes of. Bionic 6. Do you remember that?
No, I do not.
So that was it was a show about a family that basically they all had been augmented. You had your children, you had your mother, you had your father, and all of them basically were enabled through bionics to be superheroes, and they would go out and do like a Johnny Quest type episode and try and beat all the bad guys.
For me, the hilarious part is I was actually watching a video the other day about how this one failed was Visionaries.
Yeah.
Why the toy line failed and why it was a failure production, but the story concept behind it I loved because it was a meld of magic and technology. I wish that one had done better, but I mean, honestly, the one that I invested in was G.I. Joe, and that was the one I was all over. So I wished another line did better because the line I was enjoying was So
yeah, I'd also like to add Battletoads along with Pirates of Darkwater, because I thought that because what they were doing was like a little bit different. with like the swamp and that kind of stuff. But I just thought it was interesting. But when they released Masters of the Universe, that was another one that I remember liking as a kid. But I remember looking at the animation, I'm like, God, this shit is so slow. They move so slow, like they're top heavy.
Dude, have you ever seen bodybuilders try moving around? I mean, come on.
No,
Like,
but
there's that short where they put the sticker on the bodybuilder right between his what are the lats or whatever, back between his shoulder blades. They put the sticker there, and due to the fact that he can't move, he's trying to grab it, and he's going round and round in circles.
Like
the other two bodybuilders are laughing at him.
They look clumsy when they walk. They remind me of like Vince McMahon when I used to watch, Raw back in the day. I mean, they look like.
You watch enough wrestling, you can tell me that the guys who are like jacked all get up, yeah, they may be able to lift and throw somebody, but they have a hard time moving around.
I'm talking about like they just
waddle that goes to them, and like they can't move to really touch the side of their hips sometimes.
The animation, I just was not happy with animation. I thought it could have been better, but when you're young and that's all that they have.
Well, it felt a little bit like they tried to rotoscope stuff, kind of like you mentioned heavy metal earlier, and rotoscope oftentimes will have a bit of a fluid slowness to it.
Yeah. So
which one's rotoscoping?
That's the one where basically it looks like they traced over something.
Okay.
Like,
did you guys watch?
Did
you guys watch the Kevin Smith interpretation of Masters of the Universe?
No, I never did.
I meant to and never got around to it.
I heard it was supposed to be serious, and I was like, I can't take He-Man seriously. I'm sorry. I mean, he's got like bad guys like Moss Man and Stinkor, and I'm like, no, there's no serious version of this.
Well, I mean, the fact that he's called He-Man.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
And She-Ra.
Yep.
Just, I mean, you could.
Why couldn't she have been she/her?
Dude, I'm not playing the pronoun game with you today.
You could have like done Adam of Eternity.
I wonder if people who are like anti-pronoun have a problem with that. He's got to be He-Man. I mean, why has it got to be He-Man? I mean, he could be She-Man, or like, oh well, man, you're gonna take away my He-Man.
I think that's supposed to be kind of an inside joke about the movie that's coming out. Him being He-Man, that he has to.
Oh my God! If they make that a inside joke on that, I don't know.
Like the character's name is like He-Man, so okay, masculine man, Adam, Prince Adam. What is Adam?
Adam and Eve.
Man, right? So why don't you just call him, instead of He-Man, call it Adam of Eternia or Prince Adam of Eternia?
Because he's hiding he's hiding the fact that he's He-Man.
Well, and you can have Ronnie James Dio do the freaking soundtrack.
Wait, what? How did Dio get involved in this? Is he a new He-Man character?
Look.
Introducing Dio, the He-Man character.
Dude. I have ideas.
Riding his rock sled into
it would be
like a rock guitar.
Battle tracks.
No, it would be a rainbow. Oh my goodness. That derailed quickly. Anyway.
Hold on. Character that died earlier.
Huh?
I did think of a character that died in a cartoon earlier.
Which one?
Ronnie James Dio, the He-Man action figure.
No, Roy Fokker in Robotech.
What is his name?
Yeah, but that was still Japanese. Like
it was Macross.
Robotech. But yes, yeah. Actually, quite a few people died in Robotech repeatedly.
Yeah.
And I started watching. I watched a little bit of Gundam, and then I started watching recently Gundam Seed. I think. Yeah, there's so many Gundams, but Gundam Seed is basically like a rehash of. I was like, man, I feel like I've watched this before, and it's like, oh, that I have. This is Gundam. They basically redid the first like 8 episodes of Gundam as Gundam Seed, and I was like, oh, that's why I've seen it before. Okay, but man, they're murdering people left and right in that one. I mean, just wholesale. They end up destroying like this whole military base in an asteroid. Japanese just did not care as long as it wasn't sexual and they had to resort to tentacles. Man, violence was completely and utterly allowed. Apparently, if there's anybody who knows history of Japanese anime and can fill us in,
I wonder if that might be a. Let me pause at that thought for a moment. Could that be a leftover of from World War II, perhaps?
no, I think it's American prudism actually, because I don't think if you actually looked at probably the equivalent animations and stuff out of France or Germany or stuff like that, or even England, I think you might find actually a little bit there would be more challenging stuff put out there. And I mean, there definitely is like a level of child cartoons identifiable from what I've seen of Japanese anime.
I mean, it's only 40 years removed. You know, the 80s are only 40 years removed from everything.
Yeah, but I think the Japanese were willing to accept that you can have adult cartoons. That Americans, when we saw cartoons, our grandparents grew up watching a cartoon before a movie, and it was just like a little idiot aside kind of thing, a little quick story. And then when we grew up, it was, oh, well, these are kid entertainment. You didn't really see adult animation. I mean, that's going back to what started this whole thing. That's really where heavy metal, Fritz the Cat, there were a bunch of other ones that came out around that time where they were really pushing that envelope because animation had gone away from being something that everybody enjoyed to like adult animation, stuff that was more challenging to the viewer.
Well, I never got into like Robotech or Voltron because it didn't really resonate with me for some reason. But I think shows like Silverhawks, Thundercats, and He-Man, looking back, are all kind of the same. But I thought, though, before all the crap that came out about what happened with with the whole Ren and Stimpy thing, I didn't really was really paying attention to animation until probably the Liquid Television oddities and the Max show with Sam Keith. That was as far as what I was really getting into as far as animation.
Right. I mean, part of the biggest problem of getting into animation at the time was accessibility.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know Baca got into Robotech. I didn't see Robotech until high school. For me, it was Voltron because it came on, I want to say it was like WGN or whatever, out of Chicago, which was on cable everywhere. I don't know how they managed that one. Or it was on the Boston channel that we were getting when we were in Maine. It wasn't televised locally on one of the local channels. It was on one of those channels, and we got to see Voltron, and it was like, oh man, cool. This is different animation style. This is telling a real story. Now, admittedly, it was the same story of, oh, hey, at the end of this, we're going to cut this row beast in half. Hey, how about we just resort to the sword right at the beginning, But we didn't get that influx of Gundam and everything else. So
no, we didn't. We kind of got. I felt like some stuff, to get access to it, you had to know somebody who had the information.
You had to have somebody with a big satellite dish.
Or
big satellite dishes.
Something where you're getting foreign TV on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was to find this stuff, you had to go on a quest and jump through a few more hoops than you thought you were going to.
Did you have to go on a Johnny quest?
Dun, dun, dun.
Did you guys ever watch Venture Brothers?
No, I
Didn't
didn't
get into it. There was one episode that was forced on me that I enjoyed, but outside of that, I never got into it.
It's a great mockery of Johnny Quest. But then the other one I was going to reference was, did you guys ever see the Birdman Attorney at Law episode?
Birdman Attorney at Law.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a shirt. Goonies.
All that.
Yeah. Walmart. $8.
Yeah.
I'm rolling my flannel, but under that I got my roll. What die are you rolling? So my gaming shirt.
Why do you guys think that? I mean, cartoons were such a big thing about our childhood. Why did that go away? Like, what changed?
Alcohol.
Saturday. Well, no, I mean for kids, the generation that followed us. I mean, we went from having Saturday morning cartoons, and then all of a sudden, one day, they're gone.
I can say for us, it went away for really two reasons. And number one, we probably slept too late in the morning that we missed them. Number two, boobs. Number three, alcohol. So
Yeah.
I mean,
But what about for the kids? What about for the kids that followed?
I think I don't think it did actually go away because it got replaced by just different stuff that we don't identify with. Look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
You had Saved by the Bell and a bunch of live action stuff that came out.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Wait, but there was one animated series that not only was it award winning, but is still talked about today and still watched. I still will watch it today, and that's the Batman animated series.
Oh,
Batman the animated series. Like you watch that, it's like it hits every single time to me.
Yeah, that was an afternoon.
That really was, I think, probably the best cartoon of our childhood.
Yes,
like high school years or earlier. I think that overall that was probably the best series. Because even though it was like pretty much one episode was you got resolution, the animation was still impactful now to watch. Like I watched an episode probably like a year ago, and I was like, "Damn, it's still good."
It's not even like my favorite character, and even I admit, like, man, it's all good. Like, there's some great episodes on there. Heart of Ice.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
I was thinking Clayface. Clayface is a character I couldn't have cared one bit about in the comics or anything else, and that animated series made me go, Clayface is a cool villain.
Speaking of that, I actually just sat down and showed that 2-part episode to Lizzie the other day, and she actually got into it.
Yeah, it is such a cool. Like conceptually, it's Sandman from Spider-Man, but in many ways cooler because he pretty much can imitate anybody. He can do anything he wants.
Little tidbit about it: Clayface was voiced by Ron Perlman, who is known always known for being under makeup in different Hollywood roles.
You know, and that's another thing for the you're talking about Clayface. They have on Tubi the Swamp Thing animated series, which was terrible.
I like how he goes to a different register to get that.
I mean, I'm sorry, but they. I always thought that they could do like a really cool animated series for Swamp Thing, particular with like the horror elements and things like that. And but yeah, DC.
You got to check out the short-lived series. That was
but I was thinking like animated, you could really do some really cool stuff with that. You know,
I think DC actually could do a really good do it as like a variety show, so it's not like the same characters every single
episode. They could just do it like call it House of Mystery.
Well, either like House of Mystery or Justice League Dark, like do it something like that and literally take the magical characters and run them through some of the things that like the horrors of the magical realm of the DC universe and
Have you ever heard of Have you ever heard of Dead Man, Boston Brand?
Yeah. So when I started reading Justice League Dark, when I don't know what the composition of it is now or if they're still running it, but when they had it, it was Boston Brand, it was Swamp Thing, Zatanna, Constantine.
Yeah, me and
I'm missing one or two others, but it was kind of cool because it was these magical characters that, yeah, they're on the periphery or they might have had a moment where they were big, but they're part of that kind of magical mythos, and they were always going after magical related stuff. So I mean, there's so much cool stuff out there that they should.
That's what I kind of like wanted to. I'm sorry I kind of let you flounder there at the end, but what I'm trying to say is that's my gripe.
I want you to put up a picture over me of Flounder from Little Mermaid right at that point.
I was just saying that
when Ryan was floundering.
He's gonna do a flounder.
Yeah, just flopping around Flounder.
At DC, it's like they only care about Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and they got all these cool magical characters they can be doing stuff with, and that's my frustration with them. It's like, why? I mean, you have so many cool things here. Why do you keep going back to the same tired formula?
And look what rejuvenated Marvel. It was the movie Blade coming out.
Yeah, because they said, hey, we have other characters here. They said, hey, we have this character and we have this character.
Blade
with this guy.
Blade allowed them to prove that they could do a good movie with it. I think the one that really rejuvenated them was going with Iron Man.
Yes.
And if you really think about it, Iron Man was not, there was always an Iron Man comic out, but that was not one of your big ones. It was Captain America. It was X-Men.
Fantastic Four,
Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. Iron Man was in there and was one of those. That was the comic that I read more than anything. But that was not what a lot of people were reading. People were reading the other stuff. Iron Man is what nailed it down and made it something. And that started that whole thing. And I mean, yeah, why? Even though the original Wonder Woman movie I thought was actually pretty good. Superman, it's such a hard character to do. Like, Superman would almost be better in the DC universe. Not doing him as a main character, kind of, even though they kind of crappily handled it for Black Widow, and the fact that she finally got a movie, but it was kind of ass end of the whole series. They peppered her through, so you had character development in every single one of those things. Have Superman showing up in little bits all over. Don't do a Superman movie. Do Superman is part of the background of the world. Batman. Don't do Batman. Do what's somebody else who's running around Gotham? And have him just in the background.
Yeah.
Have Wonder Woman in the background, doing different things, and focus on the different people that are in this world. Have them be part of the world, and maybe, you do a series where all three of them disappear, and all of a sudden these background heroes that we've been following now have to go find them.
There was a really cool concept that they did a few years ago. It was a series called Gotham by Midnight, and it was basically
Gotham by Gaslight.
No, Gotham by Midnight. Gotham by Gaslight was about. It was a. I know what you're talking about. That was a Elseworlds tale.
Yeah.
But Gotham by Midnight is basically, think of like a paranormal X-Files group, and the person that ends up running the group, the leader, he is supported. One of the characters is like a nun who has who can communicate with the spirit world. And the guy that's heading it up is the Spectre. And
see, there's another fun character for the mystical
It
side of
was
it
a
was
cool
Spectre.
series because they operated in Gotham. Like Gotham PD would come to them. They were like a division of the Gotham PD,
So it was Hellboy
basically.
in a way.
But I mean, that's a way that they can develop the supernatural and connect some of the other characters. You know, it's an idea.
There's so many.
But who am I?
But no, I mean the worst part is like DC is such a dumpster fire when it comes to their um, electronic format or electronic release of, be it video or movie or TV or whatever else. God, they can't seem to put out something cohesive.
I would argue that they do animated stuff like cartoons.
What have they done recently that you would say animated?
Yeah, because that era is no longer there. They got other new people in there now.
Yeah. But they did have a good stretch where they were putting out direct type stuff that was really good.
To your point,
well, I heard the Doom Patrol thing though was actually pretty good that they put on.
I did hear that. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, that supposedly that was so. Maybe they get a little bit of a pass on that because supposedly that was really good.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that they said was like,
on the flip side, you have Batgirl.
People did well by us, so we may do more. So,
I mean, they could do a whole series on the Robot Man. Was it Robot Man? Robot Man?
Cyborg?
No. It's
you're talking about Brendan Fraser?
Metal Man. Maybe it was the Metal Man. It was the doctor who creates he puts a little chip into like the metal, and the personality of the robot is whatever the metal is. So like Mercury happens to be very kind of flighty, and Iron is really grumpy, and but they're like superheroes and stuff. But the thing is, like the main dude is a little off his rocker. Like he's got to take medication or because he's a little bit insane. I didn't really know much about it until there was a great series that DC did, which was just called 52, and it was. Do you remember when Wonder Woman snapped the dude's neck on like live TV? Did you guys ever pay attention to that series?
I am familiar with the 52.
Okay, well there was this whole huge one of those big events where it was like taking the whole DC universe into effect, and it ended with Wonder Woman. They ended up somehow televising Wonder Woman literally snapping the neck of the villain because there was no other way to do it. She either had to kill him or he wins. But he televises it, kind of like what they did with Spider-Man. What was it, Homecoming, where Mysterio wins by basically revealing that Spider-Man did all these bad things. But so she ends up killing him. Well, her Superman and Batman disappear for a year. And the 52 issues are they put out one every week. And each issue was what was going on in the DC universe for this year that the three mains are missing. And so you got to follow all these other characters like The Question. Lex Luthor ends up going through and creating this project to create heroes. So he releases this drug that you can put in your system and you get powers. But he has complete control of it, so he can pull the plug anytime he wants. There's this whole thing with Black Adam and how like the whole Black Adam movie. I haven't seen the Black Adam movie, but I saw enough of it where I'm like, oh my God, this is a complete ripoff of what they did in 52. It was a lot of stuff like from that. If you find the graphic novels of it put together, I highly recommend reading them. They're fun because it is your main characters. These are secondary characters who are happening.